everyone. Steve Flanders back again. I want to talk to you about what's new and what's next in vCenter Log Insight. So this time I will be focusing on log analysis, specifically in Log Insight. So my name is Steve Flanders. I'm a consulting architect on the vCenter Log Insight team, subject matter expert on Log Insight. So if you have any questions, please feel free to come up afterwards and I have some more information. You can either take a look at my Twitter account or follow my blog. So Log Insight 2.0, what were the highlights? Log Insight 2.0 came out in June of this year, so it's been out for 2 months. 1.0 is back in July of last year, so we've had 3 releases in just under a year, and we're busy working on the next version. There's already tech previews of that available. I'll talk a little bit about that towards the end, but I want to focus on what was new coming out with 2.0, and kind of the 3 themes here were faster, prettier, smarter. That's what we want to focus on. Very, very high level, not very marketing-like. Let's dig into these. So faster, what do I mean? Well, we introduced scale out in 2.0. We were able to handle a very large number of log messages, but when you started getting more information outside of vSphere, your infrastructure, your application, your operating systems, you really need to build out more infrastructure for this. So we have a full scale out model for you. And the goal, just like Log Insight when 1.0 came out, was let's make it as simple as possible. There shouldn't be a complicated process here. So we already have an OVA form factor. You deploy it, you stand it up, you're good. Well, why can't we just use that same OVA to scale it out? So that's what we did. You want another node? Deploy another OVA. When you deploy it, on the initial configuration wizard, there are 2 options. Either start a new deployment or join an existing one. You hit the join button, right? So we're at 1 click. You enter the IP or FQDN of the master. We recommend FQDN. Unfortunately, my lab did not have DNS when I did this presentation, so I put an IP in here. Use an FQDN. Enter the FQDN and hit go. We're now at 2 clicks. It says, excellent, we've requested it. Go take a look at the master and accept it. So you go over to the master. Underneath the cluster page, it gives you a nice little notification saying, hey, a worker's trying to join. Are you all right with this? Did you actually do this? So you hit the allow button. We're at 3 clicks, folks. You're done. You have a cluster. Congratulations. Like, as simple and as easy as possible. You need another node? 3 more clicks. We're growing out here, guys. Like, let's make this simple. It's log analysis. We shouldn't be worried about like complicated administration stuff. Your network guys should be able to do this. Your store, you probably don't want them to, but I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So here's our cluster. Now we're scaling out. Now, in 2.0, there is the need for an external load balancer. So if you want to load balance across the nodes, you would have to use something like F5, Riverbed, VCNS, whatever you have, it's fine. But something to load balance the traffic. And what that buys you is ingestion high availability. Basically, any node could go down in the cluster, and the load balancer will fail over the traffic to the rest of the nodes. So as long as you make the cluster large enough to support n+1 in terms of events per second, you have ingestion high availability. Excellent. Nice and simple, nice and easy. Faster. So the queries are significantly faster in Log Insight 2.0. Unfortunately, that's very hard to demonstrate. When you actually see it with your log data, most people are like, oh, yeah, I get it, I see it, like it's there. But showing it on slides is kind of hard. So what I did is I'm showing you some of the examples of things that we improved in the UI to make the queries faster, and so you could see that it is in fact faster. The 2 things that we introduced, one you can see is this green bar. It actually continues to progress as it's searching through your events, so you know where it's at and how much longer it has to go. The same applies actually to the visualization at the top of the screen, which is not shown here. There's another green bar, so you can see how fast that's progressing. In addition, we understand that when you're running these queries specifically for troubleshooting and root cause analysis, you want results immediately, and you want to get to work because you're trying to solve a problem in a lot of cases. You're being reactive. So what we did is we said, all right, once you start getting some results, we'll let you just pause. If you get the result that you care about and you don't want to keep running the query, stop it, and go ahead and manipulate it however you see fit. Make your aggregation query, extract your field, create your dashboard. Quick and easy, you don't have to wait, because we know that you're talking about millions, billions of logs, gigabytes, even terabytes of logs a day. You don't have time to wait. And while Log Insight's optimized for performance and it's really fast, it still takes time to go over this data. Prettier, the UI, the HTML5 interface, how you actually use the products. Really, all you need is the UI. There's no need for CLI, no command line tools, no need for an SDK. We have APIs. If you want to go down that route, that's fine. But the idea here is that anyone should be able to use the UI, anyone, without reading like a 1,000-page manual and without dedicating a stack of people to be able to construct the queries that you care about. So the UI, what did we do? One thing, interactive analytics. We broke out what we called the super menu. If you remember, next to the search button, there was this little drop-down menu thing with a whole bunch of options that no one ever found. It was amazing when we busted out these buttons. One of the things we heard, they were like, you introduced alerts in 2.0. I was like, it was there since 1.0. You just didn't find it, right? So we understood that that was a problem. We fixed that. The UI has been significantly enhanced here. We have some nice, easy navigation buttons for you. The interface is clear, crisp, and you can do everything on a single page. So if you want to extract a field, you don't have to go to a different page, extract your field, and then come back to this data. You can do it all natively on the interactive analytics page. And there's only 2 real pages on Log Insight. Interactive analytics, which is where you drill down into your queries, and dashboards, where you see your visualizations. Sure, there's a whole admin section, but that's not where the majority of people are spending their time. So again, simple and easy to process all of your log messages, to clearly see when you have an issue, and to drill down and view the actual events when you need to. Prettier, more visualizations. Visualizations are so powerful. If you're forwarding logs from all types of different events in your environment, you're looking at these log messages, it's like trying to find a needle in the haystack. They mean nothing. You have to search for things. Maybe I search for error. Well, now I still have 100,000 error events coming back at me. What do I know what's important and what's not? By constructing what we call aggregation queries, you have a way of visualizing your events, visualizing your results. That's much easier to consume. And so we already had like bar charts, line charts, some pretty basic things. We introduced more charts. We have bubble charts, we have pie charts. There are field tables, so you can get a table view of your data. Whatever you need to powerfully see when you have an issue. So I'm not necessarily showing issues here, but like vCenter Server logins by type. I know the majority of them are coming in over the Java API, like more than 90%. So in my case, I'm pretty automated in this environment. I can clearly see that. The same applies to problems and errors. Like the top chart shows successful logins by user and source. The bigger the bubble is, the more people are successfully logging in from a specific destination. So there's a couple destinations where people don't log in too often. This will help you tell when there's anomalies or issues in your environment. If you think security and compliance, well, if I'm having failed logins as an example, if I'm having failed logins from a single source, it's probably a brute force, right? Someone's trying to come in and trying to get through. But if I have it from like 100,000 sources in the course of an hour, that sounds like a distributed attack. I can see that with these visualizations very quickly, very easily. It makes it very powerful. Smarter. Windows agent, one way. Windows does not natively support syslog. But there are some really good logs in there. vCenter Server, for example, if you're running the Windows version, it logs the file system. There's no way to get those logs out through an API today. So you need to get them out somehow. You can install a third-party agent. There are plenty of free ones out there. But then you have to get support from them. If there's any problems with it, good luck. It can consume a lot of CPU and memory. That would be a problem. So we said, fine, we'll introduce an agent for you, and we'll make it much more powerful. We're not just going to give you some regular syslog agent, because anyone can do that. So we built it from the ground up, and we said, here's what we're going to do. We'll give you syslog. That's fine. We'll also offer an ingestion API that goes above and beyond that. We'll be able to tell you stats natively from the agent to the server. So there's two-way communication there. And the server will be able to push configurations down to the agent. So if you don't want to have like a Puppet or a Chef or a CF Engine configuration management tool or try to leverage GPOs or something, you can do it all natively from Log Insight. The agent will allow you to push these configs simply and easily through an API so we don't have to play by the rules of syslog. We can push things to and from. It's very nice, very crisp, very clean. Another thing that we did is we said, okay, if we're going to introduce an agent and we're going to introduce support clearly end-to-end in your environment, we want to ensure that this agent doesn't cause problems. One of the #1 requests is, how are you going to guarantee that this agent doesn't start consuming all the CPU and all the memory in my box? So we put hard limits on it. They're customizable, but this thing consumes next to no resources on your box. Even in a heavily ingested system, it doesn't matter. We will ensure that this is never going to impact your system. The other third-party agents out there, no one makes that claim, and most of them, you have to pay big money for them to actually support you. So things that we're doing with the Windows agent. Here's the agent configuration file. It's a flat text file, right? It basically, I'm not going to walk through the whole thing, but the idea here is you have a section header, so we can either collect Windows Event Viewer logs, so your application system security, the native Windows way of logging, or file system logs, because things like vCenter actually log to the file system. Apache, MySQL, they log to the file system. So you basically point us to a directory, you tell us what files you want to monitor, which ones you don't want to monitor, and that's all you really need. There are a couple other advanced options in here. I can tag messages, so I can say this came from my PCI compliant box. This came from my web server. However you want to tag it, you can do that. And probably the most powerful thing is, you can see on the bottom here, MySQL, it says event marker. This allows you to handle multi-line messages in the agent natively. So if you have a Java stack trace coming in that's 20 lines and you want to see it as one event in Log Insight, this event marker will do it for you. Basically, it's a regular expression that you configure to specify, if I see this, it's a new event. Otherwise, keep treating it like the original event. Very flexible. And then here's the server-side UI. Basically, we have an agent section now. You can see all the agents logging in. We have host names. We have what operating system, events per second. And directly below the agents here, there's actually a configuration box where you can drop in these file log, win log sections server-side instead of client-side. And when all said and done, this is what it looks like. Here's an example of a Windows Event Viewer log. As you can see, this one's actually multi-line. It's coming in as a single event into Log Insight. It has all these awesome extracted fields, and you can now manipulate it and visually represent it however you see fit. To make it even easier, we've already introduced several Microsoft content packs as well. We have Windows, Active Directory, and Exchange out now, SQL, IIS, and SharePoint in the works and will be released soon. And these content packs have predefined knowledge about certain logs, and they tell you what to look for. Here are the problems. Here are the things that are working. Here are the users that are logging in. Here are the configuration changes that I'm seeing, all simply and easily so that you don't have to construct the queries. They're already constructed for you. Smarter, machine learning. I love this part. Machine learning is happening real time during ingestion into the system. What's it doing? Here's a great example for you. We go to Interactive Analytics, and we run a query for error on the latest 5 minutes of data. And what you see is we have 902 events. Actually, not that many. I've seen tens of thousands in 5 minutes of data. But still, 900. You're not going to go through and look at every single one of the 900 results. It makes no sense. So we introduced this new Event Types tab. You go ahead and select it, and it does a couple things for you. The first thing is it does summarization. It's looking at the events as they come in, and it's trying to find common patterns. Then what you notice is 601 of those 900 events, 601 are one type of event. They all match this format. So I already know who the noisy neighbor is, and I can determine if this event is important to me or not. I can also see the least common event. But we went from 902 events to 5 event types. So out of all those logs, 5 is a whole lot easier to look at and see if I have a problem. The other thing that we do is we do schema discovery. All the things in blue that are hyperlinks, we actually analyze the events. And we pull out things like timestamps, host names, hex values, strings, numbers, anything you need. And you can use them just like other fields in the system to manipulate your results, to show nice, powerful visualizations, and to save this information for later. Simple and easy. Smarter, dashboards. One thing that we also introduced in the dashboards page is the notion of filters. So these filters are on Interactive Analytics already. They allow you to query through. Now you can do the same type of querying natively on the dashboards page. So for example, the vSphere content pack is meant to be general, to provide you high-level information about everything vSphere related. But what if I want to drill down to a particular host or a particular virtual machine? I can now do that through these filters. I would say, hey, the host name is ESX01, and all of the widgets on the page will rerun their queries only looking for data from ESX01. So I can drill down and really get to the things that I care about. And we make that easy through the visualizations as well. If you click on any bar or any result in one of the widgets, you now have the ability of adding filters natively through the widget. So if I select this value, this host name, the spike that you see, it will then add it to the top of this screen, and all the charts will update to show me why I'm seeing more events in that particular host name, so I can drill down. It will even link between different content packs. If the fields are identical, we could look for host names between vSphere and VNX. We can look for VM names between our firewall and our load balancer. So we can link between two. That's one of these options, other dashboards. Or, of course, we can query this way through the Interactive Analytics page as well. So that's where we are with Log Insight 2.0, but there's a lot of exciting stuff happening. So in addition to the GA versions, we have what we call tech previews. It's a way to get early access to software for Log Insight in the direction that we're going. We've actually been releasing these monthly, very, very quickly. So if you actually sign up for loginsight.vmware.com, it's a free URL. It's the Loginsight community. You'll get access to the tech preview program, and you can get the latest build with new features that haven't even come out yet. Very cool, very exciting. In addition, on loginsight.vmware.com, you have the ability of submitting feature requests. If you think that there's a feature in there that you need, go ahead and submit it. Someone might have already done it, and if you see something that you agree with, you can actually vote for it, agree or disagree. Now, what we're looking at is the #1 requested feature right now on loginsight.vmware.com, the ability to list all the hosts submitting their logs in the administration view. If you notice in the upper right-hand corner, it's green. That means it's already done. That means that the tech preview offers this today. So if you go look at the tech preview, you can get early access to this. Now, of course, this is future-looking. It's not guaranteed to be in the product, right? It's not GA. It's part of the tech preview program. But it shows you the direction that we're going, and you can get access to it just by registering at loginsight.vmware.com. Where else are we going? We'll look at the popular top 50. Go look at the top 10. Go look for the green icon, the yellow icon. It's a few different icons. So if you look at the site, it'll tell you what they mean. And you'll be able to tell the direction in which we're going. And you can see whether you agree or not. You can vote for other things. You can submit new ideas. We're listening very, very quickly. We can literally implement a new feature by the next release cycle, which is a month, not a year, not 2 years, a month later. So very agile development is what we're working on. Additional resources. So one thing that I do is blog and tweet very heavily on LogInsight. What I've done is I've done some research, and I've tried to pull one site together that has all LogInsight information, not just mine, everyone's. So I have a link on my blog, sflanders.net. There's a LogInsight link at the top. If you look on there, it has community-based stuff. It has all the videos that I could find. It has all the tweets that I could find, all kind of categorized into different things. Here's how you search. Here's how you query. Here are where content packs are. Here's how time's important. Everything you really need to know should be here. And if it's not, let me know, and I'll get it added, because I want this to be the one-stop shop. And that's where LogInsight is and where it's going. Any questions? Thank you so much.